is Tom Randall, everybody from GoldenCare. I want to welcome you to this webinar today. This is part of our Integrity Short-Term Care Initiative series of webinars. And Dennis and I are actually, we're winding down. I always say we're right in the middle of it, but it's coming up where we've probably given the lion's share of the 30 live webinars that we've done over the last 25 business days, or during 25 business days. So it's my pleasure to be here today to help continue our quest, if you will, to get you guys familiar with extended care products and to help your clients, whether they're selling Medicare, life, or whatever it might be. We know that there's a need for this out there, and I'm joined today again as usual with my partner in crime, Dennis Reiner from GoldenCare as well. And Dennis and I have had the privilege and pleasure, sometimes mine more than his maybe, of working together for all of those pretty much 27 years that I've been here at GoldenCare. So Dennis and I have helped design plans together. We've coordinated training and done our own training with literally thousands and thousands of agents nationwide. And we've had the pleasure and been blessed to have the opportunity to go out and do a lot of consumer seminars as well, or consumer live trainings. So we really look forward to the opportunity to kind of spread some of that expertise, if you will, and help you be successful out in the field as you help so many Americans. And Dennis, I'll let you jump in a second, but we're really, really excited today to have Chen Randall on the phone. She's got a great last name besides, but Chen does outstanding work, and you're going to have her jump in several times this morning to spread her expertise on what she's been doing for a long time with True Freedom. And she's a chief administration officer over there, and she just does a tremendous job of supporting us. It's unreal how close she's worked with Dennis and how much behind the scenes and over extra effort you've done with this product and with the marketing of it, Chen. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you for all you do on the back end. So I will get started, and then we'll spread it on. You won't have to hear me yap at you as much, especially if I have thunder coming in the windows, but I will start it out, Dennis, with my usual slide here. And again, we've done a lot of webinars, so Dennis probably gets tired of hearing me say it, but it is one of those things that, to me, no matter what, and you'll hear us talk about this all the time, today's a product training, and we're going to really love to tell you about this True Freedom product and how it's so different from what most of you have ever seen before. And it's very powerful, and it has one of its biggest abilities is its availability, because it's available in all 50 states, and we love that. So you have a solution for everybody, no matter where they may live. But at the end of the day, we do know that it doesn't matter really what product you give them. What we want to do is help Americans, because if you really look at the stats out there, 70% of people right now, once they hit age 65, are going to require some type of extended care. And I know some people like stats, some people hate them, but at the end of the day is, if you look at these short-term care type products and these things that don't have these big claim triggers, et cetera, for most of the home healthcare products and the short-term care products that we have, and especially with True Freedom, as you'll learn today, you know what, people will use these policies. It's not even like the long-term care where they have that 90-day wait that they have to have, a 90-day anticipation of needing help with activities of daily living. These products get used all the time for little things that people need all the time as they grow older. So we know the people are going to use it. We know they're going to appreciate having some protection for their families. And unfortunately out there, 90% of adults have never had a conversation about how to protect themselves and their families. So I won't spend more time on this today because we have a lot of good stuff to get through, but I do want you to know that these policies are really important. And again, this product we're talking today isn't an insurance product, and we'll get more into that, but it really can do a good job of keeping people out of that facility longer. And we know with COVID, probably the only good thing that happened from COVID is that people are raising awareness that they know what they need to try to plan ahead for some of these unforeseen events in the future. So again, I'll get off my soapbox and I'll turn it over today. Dennis, I'll let you go ahead and do your introduction and start out and pull in Chen when you need to, or myself, and we'll get rolling. So thanks, everybody. Dennis, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. No thunderstorms here, but you must have inspired me to want to mute my phone there. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us. This is a fun topic, and Tom's right. Chen is, she's great, and Chen's been with True Freedom from the very start, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. She's going to jump in on a couple areas here as we go through this particular product, but maybe something that just to share with the group, in addition to having the same last name, her husband's first name is Tom also. So that's is that correct, Chen? I hope I wasn't spacing that.
No, it is true. Tom Randall.
That's funny. I did not know that. I like it.
So
Right, it's a great name.
Oh, that's funny. So in the event, this is a product that is a non-insurance product. It is a membership, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And of course, if there's questions along the way, you can put those in the chat. And as some of you may be familiar with True Freedom, but as I said, they got their start 16 plus years ago. And Chen, you were actually there day one, right?
Yeah. I was there in the conception of the company and an idea. So I was there even before we got incorporated in February 2008.
Okay, great. All right. Well, let's jump in to see where we're going, Tom. And you're driving the bus here as it relates to the slides. So we'll just kind of move on and talk a little bit about this aspect. Tom already talked about the fact that we have to the availability is so important. And you're also going to hear us talk about how, in addition to availability, that how everything starts and stops with really the question that you want to ask, which is who will take this case. And in this case, there is no medical underwriting. We'll get into that. But we know all the issues about people. They do want to remain in their home. I mean, there's a lot of studies there. 70% of the seniors, as Tom just said, we're just kind of echoing that same statistic, will need some form of care. We know that a lot of the claims today in the long-term care market are actually less than 1 year. So if people have been priced out of or underwritten out of other solutions, and maybe you're in a state where we don't have some of the other availability as it relates to short-term care, the extended care, the standalone home health care, then True Freedom is a great fit. We've had really some of our other partners doing a really good job with the True Freedom, and that 80% statistic is pretty alarming. And that's one of the reasons why this product does resonate, because 80% of individuals have at least one chronic condition. And so True Freedom provides for all of the basic home care services that are non-medical in nature that you see here. Chen, is there any exceptions to that? Do you ever have anything outside of that normal list here that you guys have had to step in and do? I'm just curious myself, and just to bring it to, because we might get that in the chat, that someone might say, hey, do you ever do this? We know you can't do medical home care from administering medications and everything else, but is there anything else that you sometimes have had a unusual situation in the 16 plus years?
Well, sometimes, we will have to take care of their pets for them. It's a big thing, with the elderly. A lot of times they have their dogs or cats that need a little assistance because they can't do it. And it's not part of what you see at the home care, but we'll make an exception because we're there taking care of them. Why not take the dog for a walk, or, feed the dog, the cat, things of that nature. That's about it. But usually it's pretty close to what you would expect. But little things like that is not what you think about, but as you know, pets are very, very important to a lot of these seniors.
Yes, yeah, that's good to know. I may have to get my True Freedom plan, because right now we're dog sitting my youngest daughter in Europe, and he's a mini Australian Shepherd, and he is so active that I could probably use a little help with someone else taking him out for a walk. But that's good to know, Chen. So let's go on, Tom, and talk a little bit more about True Freedom here, and again talk about when you're having that conversation. And you've heard Tom and I talk at length about in our STC 101 and also in our starting the conversation, how important it is that you're trying to communicate to your clients the importance of being prepared, the importance of planning ahead. And the mission statement, and Chen, I'll let you take this one just to kind of shed some insight. And again, we've already stated a little bit of the history, but so if you wouldn't mind, just maybe share some of your thoughts on this.
Yeah, our mission, we started, we realized there's a gap in senior care, especially for the long-term care. As you all know, the industry, a lot of people can price out of, it's just very difficult for them to get a policy issued. And we realized that we need to have a product that where we can service all senior adults across the country, no matter what age, what pre-existing conditions they have, what areas they are, and they give them the opportunity to purchase something at peace of mind, where they can age gracefully in their home. And that's their mission.
Okay, and as the next slide illustrates, it's a service contract, and we think of it like AAA. It's a membership, so it's not. We're oftentimes thinking about, when you're enrolling a client in an insured base plan, you use the term "who's the insured." In this case, we're using the term member because it's a non-insurance and again, that non-medical. And we make it very clear that it is non-insurance. But I want to say something about True Freedom. They actually think of themselves like an insurance company when it comes to their reserve and what they set aside for claims and everything else. And we've been very close to it. We've done a lot of vetting on this particular product over the years. At GoldenCare, we've had the good fortune of having a relationship for a number of years, but there's even several of our integrity partners have had a relationship for even longer, 12, 13 years, somewhere in that time frame, Chen?
That is correct. Yes, we're very fortunate to have them.
And so we kind of acted as the catalyst to come in and to create kind of the uniformity and bring us all together, that we'd have this, that we shepherd kind of this strategic partnership or exclusive for this particular product. And our career side does a lot with this as well as in brokerage. And it's just another option. We're in the problem solving business. And if we cannot, because of state availability, as Tom said, that's so important, have other solutions, this may be the only solution that client can actually find. And with no age limit and 50 state availability, it just opens up the net to make sure that you're being a resource to those clients. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the plans here. And I want to digress for just a quick second. In the 16 plus years, there's been several generations of products, and the most recent product that exists on what we call the True Freedom individual side is only the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, 4 offerings. And you can see here that those offerings are based on home care hours. So think of it as that you're buying these prepaid hours, but it does have an equivalent as far as the dollar amount of what that represents. And you can see here that, a 1,500 lifetime hour bronze plan represents a current value of $42,000, silver $84,000, gold $168,000, and platinum. And the mix of the business is and I'm going to come back to base in just a second, but the mix of the business is quite interesting. And Jen, make sure that my math is still correct, that bronze and silver make up about 35% of the business. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. You're correct.
All right. And gold is around 18?
Yes.
And platinum being around 20. And it's too early. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. It's too early because what we've done is we've taken the individual side that True Freedom already had this particular chassis. And for all of our integrity partners, what we've done is we've created, and for you as the agents of our partners, for your clients, we've created a 5th plan option, which is a base plan, because we know that in the Medicare space, there may be some sensitivity, and sometimes you have to find, fit things into a budget that might be where the bronze plan may not fit. And so going down to a plan that's smaller with 600 lifetime hours is just something that that you can literally have that client get for about $1 a day. So it's important. Tom?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were done with your sentence there. So go ahead, Dennis. I just want to add one thing when you're done with that thought, if you're.
Yeah, no, I was just, I'll come back to some of the other value add that we've created for the our family of partners. But go ahead, Tom.
Okay, and I'm really sorry. And again, folks, that's our little disclaimer when you're doing, a lot of people nowadays, obviously since COVID especially, been on a lot of Zoom calls, and Dennis and I are, and Chen for that matter, are in different locations, obviously. So sorry I jumped in and rudely interrupted you there. I didn't mean to. But for you guys on the phone, I want to make sure you understand, this is one of the coolest things about these plans. It's kind of, I look at it like a prepaid plan. And True Freedom's had so much success over the years, and people love these plans when they use them. But the cool thing about it is, if you think about it, when you see that retail price there, the current lifetime retail value, they're kind of shooting, I think in 2023 now, it's probably sitting at $28 or something like that. If you do the math there and divide it out, oh, there you go, 280,010. So I'm right there. But that's kind of what the cost would be for like non-medical home care stuff. And it's kind of got a built-in, because of the nature of how this plan's made, it's kind of built-in inflation protection, right? Because if I put this plan in place now for somebody and they don't need it for several years and down the line, and we'll talk a lot about the loyalty program and all that fun stuff in the plan in a minute. But remember, that's the beauty of a plan like this, is you're buying hours of care. So when you use it later on, you know what, home care costs might be more, and it might turn out where you're ended up getting more than what we have listed there as the current lifetime retail value. So I just wanted to point that out, Dennis, that's the cool thing about doing these type of plans, and even planning ahead for some of your clients, where you tell them best time to buy is now, as always, because these are going to be real stable premiums, and they're going to give you more value later on in life too. So go ahead. I'll let you jump back.
In the leverage, Tom, we don't want to underestimate, like with all insurance-related solutions that you've heard us talk about with the short-term care and the standalone home health care, there's some darn good leverage here, and that's kind of where we show about the leverage of the 12 cents of every dollar versus 14 cents and 15 cents and 16 and 21. So again, the idea of someone thinking they want to retain the risk versus the idea of taking out the plan. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to before we look at rates and kind of get into some of the discounts is on the individual side. Once again, if one of you on the call today, or if you, or we have agents all the time that, you know, when they pick up the phone, and if they call True Freedom, they would not hear about that base plan because this is on what we call the affinity side. We've created a separate design for a very an invitation only, and and certainly that invitation is within our family of partners. And with that comes also where, when you think of affinity, you're normally thinking of like a church group or a AAA or the engineers of Plymouth, Minnesota. And normally that is the case. And we do a lot of business on where we actually will take and we have an affiliation form where you can get a group approved to get this 10% member discount. And in that situation, we also can co-brand materials because it's a non-insurance product. There's a lot of things that we can do that's very creative. And we've done recently, and Chin could attest to this, some very good union business. And we've got a number of things that we're working on that where it's a one-to-many concept, and not just the onesie twosie. And so with that also comes a 10% member discount. So all of this is digital materials that you're going to see that are available, and that 10% member discount is because we're treating your client, that Medicare client, as if they are collectively with all of our partners in affinity. And they get that 10% discount with no comp reduction. And maybe I should repeat that, just because that's highly unusual, and the percentage is highly unusual. And we worked very closely with Chen and the owners to because they're a privately held company to actually put that in place, and it's been going very, very well. In addition to that, there's a 10% partner spouse discount, or two people living in the same household, and then the loyalty discount. So I don't know, Chen or Tom, do you want to make a comment? We'll have Chen also jump in and just kind of explain just how important that loyalty discount has been as well.
Yeah, I will real quick, Chen. Sorry, and I'll let you speak obviously as well if you want to, but this is one of those things. This loyalty discount is great, and it's one of those things, again, like I talked about, kind of the built-in inflation protection in a way. But this is another thing with this product, as you know, it's available in all 50 states and non-insurance products. So it's really basically, if they're not receiving care right now, they're going to have the ability to get this product. So it's really, really wide band of underwriting. So almost anybody can attain this product that you're talking to. And the loyalty discount is their way to counteract that. You know what I mean? They're trying to get people to plan ahead and not put off the buying decision to start protecting their families, because you never know what may happen. So what we do is reward them, and what True Freedom does rewards them by saying, once you buy the plan, and there's discounts you'll see for annual discounts, and there's spouse discounts. But in this case down here, if we're looking like a partner with a spouse, so you get right away that 10% discount, but then the year one, it goes up to 20%, because every year that you don't use any benefits in the plan, you get an additional 10-year discount all the way up here until this 5th year when it levels off. So that's really important, and it's something you can really tell you. It's a great way to help you close the deal, if you will, for your clients, to say, you know what, let's not wait on this. It's easy to put these things off, but look how inexpensive it is, especially if you're looking at this base plan that Chen and Dennis worked so hard to put together. Unbelievable, great opportunity for your clients to say, boy, you know, we can put something in place today. Let's do that and put together this base plan at least. And you look at how low that is on a monthly, and the leveraging, like Dennis talked about, is phenomenal. So this is the non annual pay, so monthly pay. And if you do an annual pay, I think I may as well jump to that, and then I'll let Chen jump in if she wants. The annual pay, you get an additional 5% discount. So it turns out where you're getting a 65% discount if you pay annually. And again, we don't care if you pay a monthly or annually, you just get an additional discount if you do it annually. And so you look at the monthly breakdown, dividing that by 12, you can see very, very low costs all the way up here. Under $100 is one of those targets we talk about a lot, saying, look what you can do for under $100 a month. And nowadays, most people can fit that in your budget, and you can buy a really tremendously strong plan with True Freedom for even under $100 a month. So, Chen, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to jump in real quick too. We get this question a lot. You know, the loyalty discount after year 5, that it will maintain at that 65% if you renew annually, or monthly 60%. It will continue at that discounted rate year 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 until they activate services. I just make sure that everybody know that. It doesn't just stop at year 5 and go back to retail. It will stay at that 60 or 65% discount until, as long as they keep the plan and not use it.
Perfect.
And you know, with that, Chen, when they do start service, and by the way, we'll get into the whole claim process here in just a minute, it does revert back up to the original rate, but they do get to keep the 10% member discount. If they paid annually, they keep the 5% discount. And if they had a partner that bought. So in essence, if you look at that, that's 25% off the rack rate that they still keep. They just lose the loyalty discount. And also keep in mind, if they're paying annual, they can do it obviously through bank draft, or this is one of the few products that exist out there that actually takes credit cards. And so you can make it easy for people to do business both ways.
Jump in there real quick too, Dennis. I'm sorry to interrupt, but on the credit card, it's very important note that we do not apply any fees to your clients. We absorb the credit card fees.
Yeah, that and that's about 3%. You know, so folks on the call, you should well, I think it is 3%, but you know, that if you haven't been in the merchant side of things and understand, you know, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, they across the board can have a little bit slight differences there. But the key, again, what Tom said earlier, is you don't want them to buy it today and use it tomorrow. Yes, there's certain circumstances where people will use it, but there's also some things that you'll learn about the product. This is a high-level discussion, so we've got on the site that we make available to you 8-minute product training, and certainly we can you can follow up with any other questions after you learn more of the ins and outs. We're going to go through a few more things here, and maybe just in the interest of time, we'll just jump on. We've already talked a little bit about the services that have been included.
Yeah, I just want to jump in real quick. One thing on this, you know, I've had agents cringe when they go, oh, so once they go on claim, it reverts back to this, you know, $397 a year or whatever. don't kid yourself. Once you're getting claimed, just like long-term care, short-term care, anything else, we've always said, without waiver premium with it, this one you keep paying. And you know what? Don't kid yourself. Once you go on claim, people are not at all worried about this, because if you break this $397 down, that's like 1.5 hours worth of care in a whole month, and you're going to be getting way more than that with the plan. So don't worry about scaring your clients with that. Just make sure they realize that once you start claim, you're going to love whatever plan you have. That's for darn sure. So sorry, Dennis, go ahead.
No, and Tom, go just a step further on that. We have a value proposition that shows, in essence, whichever plan they buy, how many years, even with utilization of 5 hours a day, if they started service in the 6th year or started service in the 11th year. We don't have every scenario, but we've got 2 very good scenarios, and the power of the leverage again is tremendous. But the list here that you see, I'm going to have Chen speak to this. Because it wasn't always this robust, and it wasn't always the big names. And so, Chen, maybe talk just a little bit about the start, and then talk about how things have changed so dramatically today.
Oh, yes, I'd be happy to. So, as you said, when we first started, because we're not an insurance product, it was an uphill battle to find network home care agencies, because they never dealt with non-insurance carriers before. So, we have to do a lot to convince them that we are for legit, we're for real. But since then, I mean, the table has turned. We are now having a lot of major names, corporate accounts, the corporate offices of Visiting Angels, Right at Home, Comfort Keeper, Synergy. They're knocking on our doors, says, how do I get my franchisees in? We want to be your network provider. And, now we don't have to go and search for them. They're looking to us. So that part we're very, very proud of. It took us a while to get there, but we're very happy, and we have a vast network of home care providers across the country.
I just want to add to that because I've worked with Chen on some of the claim experiences where it's been in an area where maybe more rural, or maybe it's a small regional player, and maybe someone they're predisposed to knowing a name, and if they're not in their network, they're happy to vet them and to add them to the network. But they like to rely upon. They don't use every single one of these on the list, but they're all part of their corporate account, and so you should know that gives your client comfort, because if you turn on the TV any time and don't live underneath a rock, then obviously you've seen the Visiting Angel commercials, and you've seen, Bright Star and probably Comfort Keepers, and, they're all out there promoting it, and they're all great. One of the little known facts is that Synergy is the 3rd largest home care company. And we're going to talk about the claim process. But as we lead into that, Chen, maybe just relate, and we have a testimonial video from Synergy, but what do they call True Freedom when it comes to the claim process?
Oh, yes. They refer to us as the gold standard in paying claims. They have never in their history dealt with a company that is so easy to get their invoices paid. Literally, they send us an invoice Thursday morning. That check is in the mail that day.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. Great. So let's talk a little bit about the process, because some of you who've sold long-term care may know that usually there's a couple gatekeepers there. One may be the 90-day elimination before they actually can trigger benefits. The other is that there's a care coordination. And so when we talk about a care coordinator, we're talking not about someone who's going to vet whether or not that you're eligible for the claim. This is just someone who's going to orchestrate the claim. And Chen, speak to that process, because it is different than long-term care and short-term care, even as it relates to the speed by which you can maneuver, just like the speed by which you pay those bills to the various home care agencies. Speak about the speed. Sure. And again, the ease.
Yeah, so when a member needs care, they don't need to go to the doctors, get any type of note or anything like that at all. They just call the toll-free number and tell us, okay, I need a little assistance. And we'll connect them with a care coordinator to figure out what type of care they want, what kind of schedule they're looking for, whether anytime hours or agency hours. And contractually, we have 72 hours to get the care to them. But majority of the time, we're able to get someone there within 24 hours. Because to us, that's the most important part of our business, is to take care of our members when they need us.
Yeah, perfect. One of the things I got to add to that is that a lot of times when people get into the situation where they're starting to need care, don't forget that a lot of times that's one of the scariest times for families, and it's confusing and people are wondering, I always hear that's one of the biggest things about getting any type of extended care product, and True Freedom certainly no exception with those great care agencies in there, is that you get a trusted voice of somebody who understands and has been around it, and they can talk the people through. There's a huge part of it is the emotional support that they get of talking to somebody and saying, you know what, we can take care of that. We can come and help you prepare those meals, or we can get you to the doctor. Don't worry. So I think that's one of those little kind of those intangibles that people don't think about is so important with having a product.
Yeah, and Tom, back to some of the experience, we had a case not too long ago that was in a rural part of Hawaii. And Chen may recall that, when the agent called in and the client needed to start that process. And by the way, the client can just call in that number. But in this case, I think it was the agent that kind of initially alerted Chen. And Chen, you probably recall this particular story about how quickly, I think it was a fractured arm, as I recall, but maybe you can, was it? Okay. Yeah. And how you went to great lengths because there wasn't some of the standard, just, name brand home care agencies in order to make this happen. And that kind of leads us to the next discussion about anytime hours and agency hours and about the differences there. And so you may want to speak to that as we talk about the anytime hours and the menu of care providers that are there and how it works.
Yeah, so anytime hours is provided by a friend or neighbor chosen by the member, not a family member. And the friend or neighbor's anytime hours is far more flexible. It's any day of the week, hours for overnight, weekends, or 24/7 live-in home care. And it's someone usually the consumers, the clients are very familiar with, they feel comfortable and they trust. So it's a very popular option. Now, the anytime hours, of course, is with a licensed insured network home care agencies. Those hours are available Monday through Friday, up to 5 hours a day between 9 to 5. It's like a banger's hour, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, and no weekends and no holidays.
And you can't get both. You can't utilize both anytime and agency at the same time. So it's one or the other. And the vetting of that on the friend or neighbor is done by True Freedom, and they set them up on the ability to get reimbursed. And just so you know, when Tom was referencing about $28 an hour, in some markets it's 30 or 32, whatever it tends to be on the agency side, that friend or neighbor gets compensated. And it also is based on minimum wage laws in the various state. And Chen, correct me if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. That is correct. We're trying to keep up with the minimum wage.
But it's usually about half of whatever the agency hour is. Is that correct as far as what the friend and neighbor gets?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So, and then you can see here in terms of that gold standard that we just talked about, and again, the third party who vets that friend and neighbor, and again, True Freedom has that leniency on the underwriting, but also be mindful that sometimes people have memories of convenience. And I say this to be kind of polite, that I'm not trying to, maybe I'm implying that they could be trying to mislead the agent, like they're not getting help. But usually that gets flushed out very quickly if a family member or someone was already providing care. And in those rare circumstances where that does happen, just know that True Freedom just has to return their original premium and terminate the plan if they come to find out that someone is already, remember, there's no medical underwriting, but there is suitability. And if they're not living independently and they're not, and if they actually need help with their activities of daily living, then that would make them ineligible if they are not living independently. Doesn't mean that you can't have a family in the same household, but they have to be functioning on their own and being able to perform their activities of daily living. And so that does come out, but I don't think it hasn't tended to be over the many years, a huge problem, has it, Jen?
No, not at all.
So, again, we're not going to go too deep into the product, but when we went back to the plan design and we talked about the difference between the base, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, in order to actuarially make sure that that True Freedom in the 16 plus years have never had a rate increase. The plan that the client selects, and by the way, one of the reasons why we put base and created that for the Medicare market was really just to be, not that we want 100% of the plans being sold today to be base, but we wanted to have something that was a low entry that they could, at least until they learn more, they would know that, hey, you could at least have this initial plan. But I want to caution you that the plan that you help design for that client, it should be the best plan that they can afford. And if all they can afford is base, then that's understandable. But understand this, they can never increase from a base to a bronze to a silver to a gold, especially because it would just create adverse selection to True Freedom, that suddenly now they've had the plan 5 years and they want to move it up to a platinum because they know that maybe they're on the eve of needing services. But they can go the other way. They can go from a platinum plan, and maybe if they found out that maybe because of economics or whatever the reason that they wanted to drop it down to a silver plan, they can always go down. Correct, Chen?
That is correct. Just can never upgrade.
Never upgrade. And so the 10 bundles, back to that. So if we took the silver plan that was 3,000 hours, you could take the gold, you could take any of them, and you would divide by 10, you'd have 300 hours. So if, back to Tom's point about someone calls in, they get service, they start the clock, and once they go through, they can go through those bundles as fast or slow, depending upon whether or not they're getting anytime hours or agency hours. But once they go through that first bundle, they go into what we call a donut hole, or the technical term is a rejuvenation, where they don't have coverage for a 90-day period of time, even though, like with health insurance, they're still paying their premium. And so they have to either self-pay or get help from an informal caregiver, from a family member. But then on the 91st day, when they start back in, it's seamless. And Jen, maybe speak to that, because sometimes people think, well, do I have to call back up? And how do I make sure? But also just how actuarially this has worked so beautifully over the last 16 plus years, almost 17 now, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's definitely an actuarial formula that's helping us to stabilize and make sure that we never had a rate increase despite of the inflation crisis that we were experiencing, or everyone experiencing. But yeah, so if a member uses up a one single bundle of hours, after the 90-day rejuvenation period, the next bundle reloads automatically without having them to go to doctors to get a note or anything like that at all. Now, the member do have a choice to save the next bundle if they do not have a need for, save it for the future, especially if they have the smaller plans. They want to be able to maximize the hours to the advantage so they can stay home as long as they could. So
yeah, and sorry, I just want to jump in, you guys. This is something that, a lot of agents, this is another area they're like, oh, okay, there's a smoking gun or something like that. It's not at all. First of all, remember, this is available in states where other products are not available, so you have a solution. Secondly, don't forget the leveraged dollar amount on this. It's such a good deal for your clients at the time of care. And literally, some of our people are in the trenches, and I know some of you on this call don't sell a lot of long-term care. You've never sold long-term care or even short-term care, but long-term care especially, we talk about the fact that, look at this reverse. With long-term care, almost all the plans sold out there are 90-day eliminations. And elimination means that's the period of time you're getting care that you're paying out of your own pocket. And the way our agents do this really successfully in our career side, who are long-term care agents, they say, this is even better. This one starts out first day coverage, and then after you use 1/10 of your plan, then you have a 90-day elimination afterwards. And then after that, it starts back up. So don't look at this as like, oh my gosh, because at the end of the day, this is really very powerful. It keeps the plan sustaining. And remember, in a lot of cases, your clients had no other options, especially when they're looking at going, you know what, I'm sorry, but you're not healthy enough even to get any of these other protection options. This True Freedom plan is a lifesaver, and the clients who use these plans really do love them. So I want to make sure you don't talk yourself into the fact that, oh boy, this 10 period bundling is a weakness, because it's not. It's actually a really nice, strong way to be able to allow True Freedom to do the powerful things they can do by spacing out that coverage and making sure that they can keep these premiums as well leveraged as they are. So sorry, Dennis, I'll turn it back over.
No, Tom, and back to that value proposition, we actually put that in there that shows even with the rejuvenation, how long these plans will last. And I think as you get your arms around it, again, it's not for every situation, but it's part of our perfect portfolio that we want to make sure that that we're designing for our partners to make sure that there's options. We know a lot of partners are in states like California, New York, Florida, and it's very frustrating. I can't tell you how many times over the many years that Tom and I have been doing this that I would hear they'd almost just tune out. They'd come to a webinar on a standalone home healthcare, and they'd say, "Oh, yeah, not in California. I'm not even going to listen. Not in New York. I'm not even going to listen." And so we want to make sure that that again, back to being that problem solver. But you can take as long as you want, and as I mentioned, go through those bundles as quick or as fast. But once you use up all the bundles, you're not allowed to purchase another plan. So that's why you should always make the right decision on the front end and try to find out, just like you do with extended care, where's the elasticity here? Where's the bookends from one extreme of the low option to the high option? What are they comfortable with, and what is sustainable so that they can actually keep that plan over time? Enrollment, oh my gosh. If you think that when we've talked about the extended care and the standalone home health care, how easy that enrollment is, Chen, because you've designed and put together the EAP process, you can transact a number of different ways. But coming back to what Tom said earlier when we were talking about suitability, there it is. Can you be left alone? Are you living independently at the time? Are you not actually need help with your activities of daily living? But let's talk a little bit about that enrollment for just a quick second about how streamlined that process is.
Did you want me to jump in, Dennis?
Yeah, please.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
sorry.
So the online e-app literally should only take you a few minutes. It's one-page application, name, address, phone number, which plan do you want? How would you like to pay? Do you want it monthly or annually? Answer the suitability survey questions and the terms and conditions, click and sign. And then we also added extra layer protection of the statement of understanding, which just reiterates some of the major points of the plan benefits so the consumer, your clients will fully understand. And then contractually, it's between your client and True Freedom and not the client and yourself as the agent. And literally, that's it. That's the on-run process.
It's so easy. And by the way, I want to come back on that just for those of you that might be thinking, hey, I've got some groups, not just the onesie-twosie clients of mine that will fit this. I have this church group, or I have, as I said before, another association. Reach out and work with us and reach out and work with your marketer that brought you on this call, because we can get you what you need from an affiliation form, and we can talk about setting up a dedicated e-app just for that particular group. But we are going to have making available a enrollment or a group number that will be for all the a dedicated e-app that you'll be able to use, so that when your clients enroll, we know that and that they're getting that 10% discount, that member discount. But there may be other situations. And Chen, I love the fact that everything is done electronically, digitally, as far as when they complete that e-app, that is their terms and conditions of, there is no policy delivery, correct?
That is correct. As soon as the last signature goes on, which is your client's, all three parties receive a copy for their records, your client, yourself as agent, and True Freedom. So it's so super fast, and you can save it digitally. There's nothing for you to deliver. Now, within 30 days of enrollment, we will send your client a welcome letter with an ID card for them to keep. And that's it.
And so at claim time, they just take out the ID card and call that number.
That's
and
right.
Reference their member number.
Yeah, super easy. And again, Dennis and Chen, I'll let you steer here. I can show you either spreadsheets I have open, or I can go to a video, whatever you think is most valuable use for our time, if you want to finish with that, or if you think we're okay.
I think, Tom, if we go to the site first, I mean, I do think the agents need to know how easy we've tried to make this on the, not only having the materials available on our site for True Freedom, but also that there is a consumer video. And I've been remiss. I need to get with our internal support person, because Chen, as you know, we crafted a couple email templates to go with that video that are either for a prospect or for an existing client. And so this is a 2-minute video, and some of you who are maybe on this call may not know, but one of our partners also is a very large PR firm, and they are the ones responsible for Medicare Center and all of that other footprint. And we worked with them very closely on putting together this 2-minute consumer video that really does tee up the discussion. And it may be as easy as you on your call where you don't have time necessarily when you're doing open enrollment. Maybe you're not going to get into the whole discussion, but you could say, listen, I want to plan to come back, but what I'd like to do is remember, we're talking about the other half of your healthcare plan that I want to make sure we pay attention to. And in this 2-minute video will actually, it'll do a lot of the work for you. So that's something we can't show right here. I think we'd have to have a separate download to show the video. And Tom, if we want to go and talk about that other schedule, that's fine too. And I think we can then, we're kind of at the our time limit here, but that would probably be worthwhile, and we could finish up with that.
Yeah, I think the value proposition, I think we're going to spend a couple minutes on that just so, reiterate what you're talking about, the leverage part of it. So like this one. So if your client keeps a plan for 5 years and then they say, you know what, I need care at this point, my health is failing or I'm getting older. So they start care on the 6th year. So what this shows you is illustrating all 5 plans. If they use up to 25 hours a week, how long will it take for them to exhaust their lifetime hours, including the rejuvenation periods in between? The base plan, I should say, only 600 hours, but it's still going to take them 2 years, to maximize and use like those hours. So, and the platinum plan, literally, it'll take them 10 years to exhaust the 10,000 lifetime hours. So it's a long-term planning. Now, the next section is just illustrating about the membership fees, how much each plan they have paid in for the first 5 years, including the discounts that are paid in. So like the base plan in 5 years, they paid out only, less than $1,300. Platinum plan is just over $15,000. And during the usage years, because they have to revert back to the retail value, but all in all, let's just stay with the base plan. So they kept it for 5, used it for 2. So in 7 years, they only paid less than $2,000, but the current value is $15,000. So what they paid in $2,000, they got $15,000 out of it. So we actually save your client over $13,000 if they didn't have a home care, True Freedom home care plan in place. They would have to fork over the $15,000 themselves. Now, the platinum plan, of course, the most robust. If you look at that, in the matter of 15 years, they paid in, about $57,000, just over $57,000. But current retail value should be about $280,000. So I'm not sure what happened there, but
I think those were previous numbers before we adjusted the the membership cost of moving it up from 25 hours. $25 an hour up to 28. So that would be
even with that, look at the substantial savings for your particular client. If they have the True Freedom plan, they're able to stay at home for 10 years. And how much money that we would have saved them, the leverage of having a True Freedom plan. It's only would have cost them 23 cents to every dollar.
Yeah, that's the key. When you start looking at that cost divided by the benefit, this is powerful. And again, you're probably not going to show your client, you're probably not going to be in the weeds this deep, but you to get, for you to be seeing the value, because a lot of it is, we know that we sell and present the things that we're comfortable with. And if you're comfortable with it, you're going to have, as Tom and I like to say all the time, you're going to be a lot more passionate about being able to try to help the client when you believe that there's really tremendous value here. So a lot of this is also just for your benefit. And again, the site is valuable to go and get all the materials and have those downloads are available as far as that what we just showed you. And we'll have to update that, Tom. We'll have to update those numbers.
Yeah, see that was that built-in inflation I was talking about, because when we put that together a few years ago, it was about, you know what I mean? We were looking at $25. Right. So it shows right what I was talking about. Here's that video we were talking about. This is the site, Integrity STC. If the person who got you on this or the marketing organization who got you on this call should have maybe given you a link to integritystc.com, and that has all the products that we talk about. And, you know, it's really strong because of the fact, if you go to like the home healthcare base site here, then you'll see the state availability of all these plans. And again, that's one of the biggest powers. Remember, the biggest ability of some of these plans, their availability. That's part of this with True Freedom more than any other plan out there, because all these areas here are the ones that the states, especially where I live, Minnesota, just won't allow these insurance type products, but True Freedom can come in and save the day in a lot of these states, especially. So really nice for any state you're in any situation, but especially those states when there's no other products available. But again, I can't stress enough, everything you'd never need to be successful for this product is here. If you need to reach out to the marketing organization, we're their back office support, if you will. So if you need help, contact your marketing organization that got you rolling on this if you don't find it here on the site. But again, I can't stress enough the power of this website for all the different things you need for marketing materials, the videos we talked about, and all these different tools are there. So we don't toss you out of that plane without a parachute. We want you to be successful all along the way as you help your clients with their extended care needs. So thanks.
Tom, sorry, I apologize. There is the email templates there, Chen, that I guess the last time we did this, we didn't have them, and I reached out to our internals and we put them on. So that's perfect. So, you know, again, what Tom said, you never know where it's going to play, but it's great to make sure you have another option. And certainly we really appreciate, Chen, your time today, taking time on Friday out of your busy schedule. And so, Tom, I'll turn it back to you to kind of wrap it up.
You bet. And thank you so much, Jen. Again, I couldn't imagine going and doing what we've done with this product so far without your great support over the years. So we really appreciate that ongoing support and appreciate your time today. And for you agents on the call, you know what? Really appreciate your time. We know that you're busy. You got AEP coming around the corner. So thank you for jumping on, letting us yap at you for this time this morning. But again, I can't do my job without telling you that the next step is up to you. If you're not appointed with these carriers, and if you're not starting to get your enrollment for yourself to be able to go out and present True Freedom, do that right away, please, because we really want you to have the opportunity to help as many people as you can. You're the last line of defense for most of these clients out there, whether you're selling Medicare, life, or any other product, and we know the need is there. So we hope that you'll step up, take a little bit of initiative, and jump on another one of our webinars to learn our selling techniques. And with that said, thank you very much again to Chen and to Dennis and to all of you, and have a great weekend. And we hope to see you on the next webinar soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
The next step is yours. Contact your marketer for more information and to start offering short-term care solutions to your clients. And be sure to sign up for our other short-term care hot topic webinars.